One of the reasons they were obsessed with targeting Trump and distracting the Justice Department was to protect Hillary Clinton. And Judicial Watch, our litigation, uncovered the Clinton email scandal. Remember that. The litigation that most directly impacted the discovery of the Clinton emails was our request for materials on the Benghazi talking points. And Hillary Clinton, we noticed, there were no Hillary Clinton emails in the responses from the State Department. So we pushed and pushed, and the State Department finally admitted to the Clinton emails. It's long story short. Well, the judge in that case was upset because he thought he had been gamed because the Justice Department and the State Department were trying to convince us to shut the case down before they had to fess up to the Clinton emails. He wanted to know where the emails are that should have been searched that were deleted. Is there any other way of getting them? And he wants to know if Mrs. Clinton was involved, did this all to avoid the Freedom of Information Act. And he also wants to know whether Benghazi was one of the reasons they hid this material. Well, you know what? The judge was asking the right questions because the answer was yes. Benghazi was the reason, or certainly looks that way. New Benghazi document confirms Clinton email cover-up. Now, this is some of the background on this case. As I said, it would have to be, well, we've gotten thousands of pages on the emails, but just the voluminous records and the court filings would be enough to overwhelm anyone. So we were granted discovery by the judge. And in the course of this discovery, we talked to a witness named John Hackett. Now, Mr. Hackett was a senior records official at the State Department who essentially said, look, we all knew there was a Clinton email problem. We raised questions about it. They tried to avoid it. They lied about it. All sorts of backing or confirmation of the Clinton email cover-up. And one thing that Hackett had highlighted was that they saw a Clinton email related to Benghazi back in 2014. Well, of course, we're interested in this because we didn't have that document. It was directly responsive to the complaint. Now, what was the questions that we were asking in the FOIA request? Tell us about these Benghazi talking points. Now, the talking points were the talking points allegedly used by Susan Rice in her 5 Sunday show appearance shortly after the Benghazi attack, where she said a video made them do it, which is a big lie. Spontaneous demonstration in response to the video led to the attack. It was a pre-planned attack. They knew it was an attack at the time. They knew it was pre-planned. There was no demonstration. There was no intelligence suggesting that there was a demonstration. It was all made up. And the intelligence community did not provide the talking points. Ben Rhodes at the White House provided the talking points. How do we know? Because Judicial Watch uncovered the document. That led to the creation of the Select Committee on Benghazi. You wouldn't know about Trey Gowdy but for Judicial Watch's disclosures on Benghazi. So we asked for the document in discovery, and still, just as recently as a few weeks ago, the State Department and the Justice Department were trying to prevent us from getting the document. We're hedging and stonewalling, and they only gave it to us when we threatened to go to court to compel its production. So they were still covering up. And what does the document show? Well, it's emails, as confirmed by Hackett, that show that in 2014, oh wait, it's a 2012 email, by the way, that Hillary Clinton received an email from her colleague, Jacob Sullivan, who was her top advisor on press matters and things like that. And it was talking points for Hillary Clinton's call with a senator to try to clean up the mess on Susan Rice's phone call. Now, the email is full of fake talking points that were not used by Susan Rice, suggesting that, oh yeah, there was a spontaneous protest in response to the so-called video. So there are two issues here. We get confirmation that the State Department had a document responsive to our FOIA request, right? And it was hidden from us, it was hidden from the court, it was hidden from the American people, and it was a Clinton email. And secondly, it shows that Hillary Clinton and the State Department were directly involved in lying to the Senate, at least, about Benghazi by continuing to push the fake information that Benghazi was the basis, or was the attack on Benghazi was a result of a spontaneous protest. Document after document we've uncovered show that they had sufficient warning that an attack was going to take place. We have a document showing that there was no security. The local security had fled using the excuse of a contract dispute. On September 11th, 2012, that it was, and we've seen the documents, that the reports were being attacked by terrorists. Hillary Clinton said it was Al-Qaeda to her daughter the night of the attack. And yet they lied to us about that terrible attack that led to the lives, 4 lives being lost. Ambassador Stevens, his associate from the State Department, and the 2 retired special operators who were providing security over at the CIA annex afterwards. So, new Judicial Watch document uncovers a conspiracy from the State Department and Justice Department to hide information from the courts and the American people and you about the big lies of Benghazi. And people wonder, why hasn't Hillary Clinton been held accountable? Because the Justice Department that's figuring out whether or not they're going to re-prosecute her, assuming that's even happening, is actually defending her. As I told you, it was only because we threatened to go to court that they give us this document, which shows that they had a Benghazi talking points email that they were hiding from us. Because if it had been disclosed to us in 2014 or 2012, when we first started asking questions about it, we would have known about Clinton's emails back then. That was the purpose in hiding it. And then after her emails were disclosed, they still didn't want to give it to us because it would have shown that they were consciously covering up her email usage. Of course, we've got other evidence that was taking place, but now we've got documentary evidence. So right now, we are continuing discovery in this case. Other witnesses are being deposed. And also, the court is considering whether to bring Hillary Clinton in for testimony. So we'll see what happens there. We've made our argument. Mrs. Clinton's lawyers have come back with their arguments as to why she shouldn't be deposed. I went through that with you recently. And in my view, the arguments were pretty weak. They point to her vague testimony. She says, well, she talked to 11 hours to Congress, as if that means anything, substantively to a court trying to get specific information. So we'll see how the court rules here. But Judicial Watch hasn't forgotten about Benghazi. And more importantly, the court hasn't forgotten about the government misconduct and the conduct by Hillary Clinton as it relates to her email system. And I don't know if the government or the Justice Department is going to ever prosecute her on this, but one thing I do know is they need to stop defending the indefensible in protecting her in this FOIA matter. It's unbelievable. And Attorney General Barr needs to stop it. And I don't understand why he hasn't. I really don't.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.